0 p.m., Luhansk, lunch hour. Deep underground, 3 meters of reinforced concrete vibrates like a struck bell as the lights flicker, and a pressure wave slams through corridors that were never meant to feel daylight again. Russian generals are mid-sentence, forks hovering above porcelain plates, when the ceiling breathes in and then tries to explode outward. This bunker was supposed to be untouchable. Built to survive NATO strikes, layered with Soviet paranoia, wrapped in Buck M3 coverage, guarded by Rosgvardia who believe concrete is destiny. But destiny just punched down from the sky. If this command cell survives, then Russia keeps coordination, confidence, and control across the sector. If it doesn't, then the front doesn't just crack, it forgets who's in charge. Stay focused. What you're about to witness is not a lucky hit, not a gamble, and definitely not brute force. It's a timed equation. Time to impact, 28 seconds. Margin for error, 0. And somewhere far above, a MiG-29 has already let go. For years, this bunker sold a fantasy. 3 meters of reinforced concrete, shock-isolated chambers, redundant power, redundant command, redundant ego. Russian planners called it impenetrable, the kind of word that sounds powerful right up until physics hears it and starts laughing. Above ground, Buck M3 launchers sit alert, radar dishes sweeping the sky like paranoid owls, each missile priced like a Miami condo and treated as proof that nothing serious gets through. On paper, it looks terrifying. A layered air defense umbrella, hardened underground command, electronic warfare humming confidently in the background, screens glowing with false certainty. The kind of setup that makes junior officers relax and senior officers clap each other on the back over lunch, convinced they've outsmarted history itself. But here's the catch: Russian doctrine keeps missing. All this power assumes the enemy plays fair, flies straight, and attacks loudly. It assumes the sky politely announces danger. It assumes concrete is smarter than mathematics. Stay with me, because what looks like invincibility from inside a bunker often sounds very different from 30,000 feet above it. This isn't just concrete and cables. This bunker is a balance sheet. Inside these rooms sit generals whose signatures move battalions, whose orders burn through ammunition by the trainload, whose presence alone keeps fragile offensives stitched together. Lose them, and the map doesn't need to change, behavior does. Units hesitate, artillery fires late, reserves get stuck waiting for a voice that never answers. Now put a price tag on that confidence. The hardened facility itself, easily a 9-figure investment once you count excavation, blast doors, filtered air systems, and imported electronics. The Buck M3 battery overhead? Each interceptor a 7-digit panic button. The command vehicles parked nearby? Rolling server farms worth more than most small towns. But here's the number Moscow never prints. Replaceability, 0. You can rebuild concrete. You cannot quickly replace institutional memory, battlefield intuition, or the authority that keeps subordinates obedient instead of improvising badly. If this bunker holds, Russia keeps a $300 million command nerve intact. If it fails, the loss compounds every hour. But wait, this is where the math starts to get cruel. And there's a final cost no ledger admits. Optics. The image of senior officers hiding underground while conscripts bleed above them is already toxic. If this bunker goes dark, that image doesn't just crack, it detonates, echoing from briefing rooms to telegram channels, from staff colleges to kitchen tables. 1:02 p.m. The sky over Luhansk starts lying on purpose. Radar screens bloom with contacts that look aggressive, sloppy, impatient. Exactly the kind of signatures Russian crews have been trained to fear. Multiple returns, multiple vectors. Speed profiles that scream large strike package. To the Buck M3 operators, it looks like the opening chord of a very expensive disaster. But here's the genius detail most people miss. These aren't aircraft. They aren't even valuable. They're mall decoys, cheap, loud, and convincingly stupid, designed to behave like a threat that wants to be seen. They fly just wrong enough to trigger doctrine. And doctrine, when followed blindly, is the fastest way to empty a magazine. Target acquired. Launch authorized. Missiles leave rails in disciplined pairs, then impatient singles, then panicked salvos, each interceptor priced like a suburban house, each one chasing a ghost that was never meant to survive. Explosions bloom harmlessly in empty air. On Russian command channels, confidence spikes. Operators grin. Someone actually claps. There are high fives. A lunch tray rattles as a chair kicks back. But wait, look closer. The fourth decoy isn't charging forward. It's drifting, listening, learning, measuring radar pulse timing, missile guidance logic, and the exact rhythm of Buck crews reloading under pressure. This isn't bait thrown randomly. This is bait studying the fisherman's hands. Stay focused, because while Russia is busy congratulating itself for shooting down cardboard courage with million-dollar anger, something else is happening far above the engagement envelope. Something quiet, something patient, something that does not need permission from radar. 1:03 p.m. Buck M3 launchers reload. Crews breathe again. Screens look clean. Threat icons disappear. The air defense bubble feels victorious, smug, complete. Deep underground, the bunker keeps eating lunch, convinced the umbrella overhead just proved its worth. What they don't realize is that the umbrella just tilted. Every launch revealed angles, every radar sweep mapped itself, every reload exposed timing gaps measured not in minutes, but heartbeats. The system didn't fail. It performed exactly as advertised, and that perfection turned it into a spreadsheet problem. This is the moment Russian air defense hates most. Not chaos, not surprise, predictability. Because once behavior becomes predictable, it becomes farmable. Ukraine isn't attacking the system anymore. It's harvesting it. Margin for error, 0. Time remaining, 41 seconds. High above, invisible to celebration and arrogance alike, the real strike has already separated from its carrier, quietly falling into a hole Russia just dug for itself. 1:04 p.m. Inside the bunker, the mood turns casual in that uniquely dangerous way that only comes after a false victory. Plates clink, coffee pours. Someone jokes about how Western tech always looks scarier in brochures than it does on radar. Screens show clean air, green icons, a quiet sky that feels earned, deserved, permanent. This is where arrogance stops being an attitude and becomes a habit. Buck crews reset their posture. Shoulders dropping, fingers loosening, adrenaline draining just enough to be replaced by pride. They didn't just defend the bunker, they proved something. Proved doctrine still works, proved concrete still matters, proved they're smarter than the people trying to kill them. But here's the lethal error. They think the fight just ended. They don't realize they were only playing the opening round of a game designed to exhaust attention, not ammunition. The decoys weren't meant to be survived, they were meant to be believed. And belief is expensive. Stay with me. Because right now, Russia is paying twice, once in missiles already gone, and once in confidence that's about to become a liability. Every cheer inside this bunker is a data point. Every relaxed posture upstairs is a delay Ukraine is already priced in. 1:05 p.m. Air defense channels go quiet. No new threats, no alarms. Just silence the kind commanders interpret as control. Lunch resumes. Conversations drift to politics, rotations, post-election expectations. They talk about the future as if the next minute is guaranteed. But wait, there's one more layer to this failure. The quiet isn't safety, it's blindness. The radar didn't just stop seeing targets, it stopped expecting them. And expectation, in modern war, is everything. Time remaining, 19 seconds. Above, gravity does what gravity has always done, indifferent to rank, concrete, or reputation. Below, the bunker hums confidently, unaware that its greatest defense certainty has just been weaponized against it. 1:05 p.m., 30,000 feet above Luhansk, the MiG-29 is already turning away, its pilot calm, methodical, eyes flicking once more to a display that has gone reassuringly boring. No spikes, no locks, no drama. The release already happened, and the aircraft has nothing left to prove. Below, the sky keeps it secret. Because this is not a bomb that falls, it's a problem that accelerates. The AASM hammer ignites its booster and commits to the math. Guidance wakes up, control surfaces bite. Gravity is no longer an obstacle, it's an accomplice. The weapon doesn't rush, it refines, corrects, sharpens its angle like a blade, finding the seam in armor. Stay focused. This is where most people think explosions matter. They don't. Placement does. Time to impact. 14 seconds. Inside the bunker, ventilation fans hum. Conversations continue. Someone laughs at a phone screen. 3 meters of reinforced concrete sits above them like a promise written in stone. Engineers once tested it against simulations, charts, and Cold War nightmares. None of those charts included precision arriving from silence. Time to impact, 9 seconds. The hammer dives nearly vertical now, speed climbing past anything concrete was designed to argue with. No warning tone, no last-second scramble. The buck crews above are blind, their system having already spent its attention on ghosts that politely announced themselves earlier. Time to impact, 4 seconds. The weapon strikes the roof slab with surgical indifference. The penetrator does not explode on contact. It punches, concrete fractures inward, rebar shears, shock travels faster than sound inside confined space. Then, deep inside the bunker, the detonation finally happens focused, delayed, and furious. This is not a blast, it's a conversion. Solid becomes fluid, air becomes pressure, authority becomes debris. Corridors collapse inward, doors buckle off hinges, and shock waves ricochet through rooms designed for command, not chaos. Maps peel off walls, screens go black, bodies lift before gravity remembers them. Orders die mid-syllable, not because of panic, but because the structure holding language together no longer exists. Above ground, nothing looks dramatic at first. No fireball, no mushroom cloud. Just a brief, ugly shudder in the earth, like the ground coughing once and deciding it's done. Time remaining, 0. Dust doesn't settle. It hangs, thick and metallic, filling lungs and killing sound. Radios hiss without voices. Power dies unevenly. Somewhere in the dark, a generator tries once, fails, and leaves silence to finish the job. This is the part most headlines get wrong. They call it a bunker buster like it's a punch. It isn't. It's a sequence. A chain reaction engineered to make concrete betray itself. The AASM hammer doesn't win with raw blast. It wins with timing. The penetrator delays detonation just long enough to let kinetic energy do the first half of the work, cracking the slab, snapping rebar, opening microscopic fault lines that concrete can never close again. Only then does the warhead detonate, not outward but inward, trapped, focused, amplified. In confined space, pressure has nowhere to escape. It ricochets, it stacks. Shock waves rebound off walls, ceilings, floors, colliding with themselves until air becomes a weapon. The effect isn't cinematic fire, it's structural erasure. Rooms don't explode, they collapse into each other. Load-bearing assumptions fail in sequence, like a bad spreadsheet finally updating. Stay focused. This is where physics humiliates arrogance. The overpressure crushes lungs before debris ever arrives. Temperature spikes in milliseconds, cooking electronics, warping steel, and turning maps into confetti. Even those not in the blast chamber are hit by reflected shock. A brutal reminder that underground doesn't mean isolated, it means connected. This is why 3 meters of concrete never mattered. Thickness without geometry is just weight. Reinforcement without air gaps becomes shrapnel. And command bunkers, packed with people and equipment, are perfect echo chambers for destructive energy. No miracle escape routes, no heroic last orders, just systems failing in the exact order engineers predicted if they'd bothered to run the enemy's math. When the dust finally starts to fall, what's left isn't a headquarters. It's a sealed volume of silence, pressure scars on the walls marking where authority used to sit. Physics doesn't care who was in charge. Now step back, because this is where the smoke clears and the accountants take over. Ukraine didn't trade pilots, it didn't burn squadrons, it didn't gamble a breakthrough brigade. What it spent barely dents a modern defense budget. A handful of MAL decoys priced closer to hobby aircraft than weapons. One AASM hammer that costs less than a single buck interceptor fired in panic. Call it a few $100,000 committed once. Precisely, and without apology. Now, flip the ledger. A hardened underground command facility, 9 figures gone. Senior officers whose value isn't their rank insignia but the months of coordination they carried in their heads irreplaceable. A Book M3 battery that revealed its behavior, burned missiles worth millions each, and still failed at the only job that mattered. Add the command vehicles, the secure comms, the data links, the confidence. Conservatively, this is a $250 million deletion. Realistically, it's more. Because the hole it leaves can't be patched quickly, cheaply, or quietly. But here's the strategic checkmate most people miss. With that bunker gone, Russian units don't just lose orders, they lose rhythm. Artillery fires late, reserves hesitate, decisions bottleneck upward to nowhere. The front doesn't collapse with a bang. It stutters, slows, and starts making expensive mistakes on its own. Stay with me. This isn't about one strike. It's about behavior change. Every Russian commander now wonders which lunch break matters. Every air defense crew hesitates between shooting ghosts and missing silence. And hesitation, in war, is the most expensive commodity of all. So here's the question. If you were the planner, would you keep buying thicker concrete and louder missiles? Or would you invest in precision that turns certainty into a liability? Drop your answer below. Because in this war, spreadsheets are killing faster than slogans, and today, the math chose Ukraine.